Do you feel like you've been trying to show your partner that you love them and care about them, but for some reason you keep missing the mark? This week, we're going to dive deeply into love languages and understand each other's, your own, and how to make sure the two of you feel loved and appreciated. So what are love languages? They're quite literally the language of love. Gary Chapman, in his book, 5 Love Languages, through his research and work with couples, recognized that there were 5 categories in ways that people want to receive love, to know and feel that their partner cares for them. And these love languages may not always line up with what your partner's primary love language is, which is why a lot of couples might get into fights and not recognize, I'm showing my partner I care about them, I'm doing all these different things, and yet it's just missing the mark. I don't understand why. And it's because the two of you may just have a different love language. And so we're going to dive into the 5 different types. There's words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gift giving, and quality time. Words of affirmation. This love language is all about being able to share with your partner how you feel through your words. So this could be verbally telling them, or it could be written. So you could write letters, notes, emails, cards, things like that. But the important part is that it's expressed through language. For someone who has this love language, when they ask or are looking for this need to be met, and they're prompting you to share how you feel about them, and you may say something like, "You should already know how I feel. Why do I need to tell you?" It's because they literally need to hear or read the words about your emotions in order for them to feel that love and affection from you. And this might be difficult for some people to do, for a couple of different reasons. One reason may be your upbringing. This may have not been modeled, or this type of love language may not have been expressed in your home growing up. And so you may find it uncomfortable or awkward to express your love in your words in this way. You may not be in touch with your own emotions or feelings, then it's going to be really hard to verbalize them and say that to your partner. So there's going to be a gap in this level of connection and love that your partner feels and experiences from you, because there's that discomfort or that skill hasn't been built yet. There's different ways of going around this if this is not something that comes naturally to you. While you can practice building awareness around your emotional state and how your partner feels, in addition to that, you can also find ways to express that love by finding songs online, or there could be different lyrics or poems that when you read it, it amplifies and it expresses what you feel about your partner in words much better than you'd be able to express, and giving that to them, right? Telling them, I don't have the words to tell you how much I love you and care about you just yet, but this poem or this song really captures that feeling that I have towards you. That is also really powerful for your partner to hear and see that, because you're putting in that effort to show them that you care about them in the way that they need to receive it, even though it doesn't come naturally to you and it's not easy for you just yet. So we can think about words of affirmation being verbally expressed to your partner, and that can be compliments, praise, how they make you feel, what you admire about them, the way they've been able to conquer some of their fears. And also another tip around words of affirmation is, if you are thinking in your mind, wow, my partner is amazing, or oof, they look really good today, say it out loud. Just say that thought out loud, even if it's small or if it's silly or it's just a private thought. That really goes such a long way for your partner to feel that love and affection from you, from just a small comment that you had in your thoughts at that moment. This isn't in Gary Chapman's book with the 5 love languages. However, with words of affirmation, I love to put on this subtype, which is teasing and banter, right? If you and your partner are sarcastic with each other, or they like to banter with you and flirt, or they're very playful and they like to tease, that's also a way of showing your partner that you love them and appreciate them through your words that might feel less uncomfortable, less awkward, more natural, and actually allows more flirting and a playfulness energy between the two of you. The next love language is acts of service. So as the saying goes, actions speak louder than words really embodies the essence of this primary love language for somebody. So it's going to be kind of the opposite of words of affirmation, because this is all about doing something. It's taking action for your partner. So that could be taking something off their plate, making their life easier, something that they need, something that they're desiring or they're wanting, or that they've been asking from you to do for quite some time. Is doing these things actually shows them that you love them, you hear them, and you appreciate them. It may not always be romantic or sexy or something you may hear online or on TV, but if your partner has been criticizing or has been constantly telling you they need help with the dishes or they need help around the house, and you go and do those things without them having to prompt or ask you again, and you take on that role consistently, that is going to show so much love and appreciation beyond what you may imagine. It's not just about these grand gestures, it's about helping them and listening to what they need. People with this love language have forethought, right? They think about the future and they prepare. So they may anticipate something they're going to need. They may do things in advance to make sure that they set themselves up for success, right? There's thought into the future in order to make sure everything happens the way they need it to. What can I do now for my partner that will make their life easier is the thing that you should think about to show them that you love them and care about them. So this could be, taking the car to the shop and getting it fixed, or making sure that when you are in the car and you come home and it's empty, you don't leave it on an empty tank for your partner. You want to think about them and think about how your actions are going to impact them. And if you say you're going to do something, it's going to be really important that you actually do that thing and follow through. Because for this type of love language, broken promises and not living up to your responsibilities is going to be really hurtful, and it can actually make them feel like they're being taken advantage of, or that they're a caregiver, or that they have to be the bad guy in order to remind you to do the things that you said you were going to do. So acts of service, what can you do for your partner to show them that you love them, care about them, appreciate them, and you hear the needs that they have when they express it to you? Physical touch. This love language is all about showing your love and affection through touching your partner. So this could look like giving hugs, kisses, holding hands, back rubs, tickling each other, right? This is all about showing that affection physically through touch to your partner. This could be difficult for some people if it doesn't come naturally, or if they have something that has happened in their past before. So maybe in your family growing up, they weren't very touchy-feely. It's not something that you're used to or accustomed to. You might have had some trauma in your past around touch, or you may be asexual, right? Maybe you are neurodivergent and touch is uncomfortable for you, or you can only withstand certain types of touch for certain amounts of time. This is okay. Right? This is why we're learning each other's love languages, to put in effort to try to meet your partner's love language. And I think that's a big part of this chapter, is remembering that the effort we put into doing something that doesn't come easy for us or isn't natural or even makes us uncomfortable for our partner is a huge gesture within itself. So if you are someone who feels uncomfortable with touch, but it's your partner's primary love language, there's definitely ways to go about this and practice this and set some realistic expectations between the two of you. So maybe you can do something more playful. Maybe dancing is a good way for the two of you to start expressing that touch with each other. Or it can be, poking one another, giving high fives, something that's a little bit more lighter in nature and not as much as intimate physically. This can also be something that's discussed between your partnership around safe touch, right? So if you're someone who has had a traumatic past, or it feels very uncomfortable for you to be touched or touch your partner, right? This is definitely an exercise the two of you can go through, where you can first discuss what are areas of your body that are safe and feel comfortable to be touched, right? Acknowledging that piece and having this conversation is really big. And once the two of you are on the same page around what feels safe, what feels comfortable, then you can work through that and build some level of tolerance for touch, or that could just be where you feel comfortable and your partner's okay with that, right? So it's going to be incremental steps, but this language is all about the physical expression of love towards your partner. Some more examples that you can do to meet your partner where they're at for physical touch is you can think about public displays of affection, right? So when a couple is new in this relationship, they tend to be a little bit more all over each other, right? They're more open with their physical affection. They don't mind doing it around other people. Really, they can't keep their hands off each other, right? And then as a relationship goes through more time and is long term, some of that starts to fall off, right? You might even notice that you're sitting on the couch together, but you're not touching, or you're on opposite sides of the couch. Or you might be out at a party or a gathering and, you're having conversations with other people and you're near your partner, but there isn't any level of touch or connection with them to let them know, like, hey, I'm still here. I'm thinking about you. I see you, right? So some things that you might be able to do is, squeeze their hand if you see that they're uncomfortable, or if you haven't spent much time with them at the party, right? You might be able to walk by and touch their shoulder, or if you're sitting next to each other at a restaurant, let your thighs touch. You can put your hand on their knee, right? You can play footsie under the table. There's all these different small ways to show your partner physically that you're thinking about them and that you love them, so that they can feel that in return. So keep that in mind for these small little examples. When you have the opportunity to reach out to them, do it. Gift giving. If your primary love language is this, then the best way that your partner can show that they love you and that they care about you is being able to give you something, right? Some tangible thing, or a surprise, or an activity for the two of you to do, that it allows your partner to know that you've been thinking about them, that you put in the time and effort to put a smile on their face. So this doesn't have to necessarily be grand gestures or something really expensive. While that can also be really nice for a holiday gift, a birthday gift, or just because gift, right? That's wonderful. And we want to think about really small, inexpensive ways that you can frequently show your partner that you love them. So this could be getting a coffee for them when you're out, getting their favorite candy or gum when you're at the store or gas station, right? Something small to surprise them, to say, hey, I thought of you and I wanted to get something for you. This can also be getting flowers, writing in a card, right? If you get your partner a card, this is a really good way. If your love language is words of affirmation and your partner's is gift giving, you can write how you feel in a card in this gift for them. It's a little surprise to show them that you love them, right? So we can combine different love languages in order for both of you to feel loved. And another way can be, if your love language is quality time, but your partner's is gift giving, you can get tickets to a show or to a game or some kind of activity that the two of you can do together. So you're spending time engaged, but this is also something that was for them, that you purchased, that you thought about ahead of time. This one is really important about the intention, right? The thought counts in this type of love language. Because if it's not something that comes easily to you, or you feel like, I'm not great at thinking about what to get somebody for a gift, then it shows that you put an effort and thought into what they enjoy, what they might need, what would make them happy, or something that they would not purchase for themselves, but they would love to have. This is a great opportunity to spend time thinking and researching for them, and that shows so much outside of the gift itself. It shows your partner that they're on your mind and you want to make them happy. It's also important to think about, if your love language is gift giving and you tell your partner, hey, it would be great if you can get me flowers sometimes, or if you can get me something when you're out, that would really show me that you're thinking about me and that you love me. And then the next day your partner goes and does that, I want you to be very conscious of not providing criticism and saying, well, you only did this thing because I asked you to, right? Because that's giving some mixed messages there. You're asking for this thing, they went and did that thing, and now you're saying, well, you only did it because I asked for it. Yeah, they're listening to your request. They are only doing it because you asked. And that doesn't take away from the gesture. Actually, it means more. If this is not something they would regularly do, it means the only reason they did it was to make you happy. Quality time. So this love language is all about having your undivided attention while the two of you spend time with each other. So this can be particularly difficult for couples who may work from home together and share the physical space. And one partner who may not have this love language may think that we spend time together always, right? We're always in the same room. I see you all the time. How can you not feel close to me? Or how can you feel like we're not connected? When really what's important here is the quality, right? Are you engaged with your partner? Are the two of you focusing on one another? So this means turning off your phones, not watching TV, right? Because that means the two of you are facing a screen, not interacting, just watching something else. So we want the two of you to share an activity together, or it could be just sitting on the couch facing each other and just talking about your day or sharing a funny story. It's building those memories and shared experiences where your partner feels like you're completely engaged with them, and that's how they're going to feel closer to you. So some other ways that the two of you can do this, right? It can be doing activities outside the house like a date, right? You could even go on a road trip. So spending time in the car, thinking about planning where you're going to go, listening to music and singing together, laughing, right? That's a shared experience. Or you could even cook dinner together at home, right? So that means making sure you're not just on two separate sides of the kitchen, chopping things up on one side, the other person's cooking, and you're not doing it as a team, or you're not engaging with each other, right? We want it to be more of a playful experience. Someone who has this primary love language, they want to spend time with you, and they want that time to be just for the two of you. So make sure that you're engaged, you're listening, you're talking, you're present, and that you and your partner are connecting in a much deeper way. Because that's how they're showing you that they love you, is that they're carving out time from their schedule to be with you. And that's really a big deal. So if you have a really busy schedule, or you have a lot of things going on in your life, which a lot of us do, right? And you prioritize spending time with your partner and making sure you protect that time, that's going to mean so much to them, because they know you're busy. They know you have a lot on your plate. But outside of that, you have chosen to prioritize this relationship because that's what makes them feel loved by you. So now that we've gone through all the different types of love languages, I want the two of you to spend a little bit of time doing some of these exercises. So the first one is, now that you've heard each one, I want you to think about and talk to your partner and see if you can guess what their love language is. How do they show you love? How have you been able to identify and recognize now that this is how they've been showing you love this whole time? And that is probably how they want to receive love from you. So in this exercise, you'll be able to just kind of share with each other what you think the other person's love language is. There's a primary one, but also to think about, sometimes people may have 1, 2, or even 3 that are their top languages, that if it's shown, that's how they feel the most loved and appreciated. Okay, so let's talk about that first between the two of you. You can either pause this video and do that and come back, or we can go through the exercises and then you can go do them afterwards. The next exercise is thinking about what have been some of the constructive criticisms or the asks or even the complaints that you've heard your partner make to you that they are looking for from you, right? So whenever we have a complaint or a criticism, really what's underneath that is an unmet need. So if your partner has told you many times, you're always on your phone, you're not paying attention, you're distracted, right? What they're really trying to say is, I want to spend quality time with you when you're not focused on something else. Or if they say something like, well, you never talk to me, you're not sharing how you feel, like what's going on? You never compliment me, right? Do you think I'm attractive? They may be looking for more words of affirmation. They may be saying, I don't hear you telling me how you feel, so I'm not quite sure. Can you provide more of that? Or if they say, you never do the dishes, or you haven't picked up this, or I need more help, then what they're really saying is acts of service. And before you do this one, okay, now that we've gone through communication, being able to hear each other out, I don't want this exercise to turn into a fight. This is really just acknowledging and saying, I've heard you say these things, and now I understand that the underlying need that you're looking for is this, okay? That's the point of that part. And then the last piece is you can try all the different love languages, right? Have fun with it. See if you can provide your partner with affection through each one of these, and let that be a fun time for the two of you. Now you can head over and take the online quiz, the 5 love languages, on there, and you will be able to get the results and see what your top 3 love languages are. This is a great way for the two of you to compare and think about, after reflecting on real life examples between the two of you, does this match up? Does this make sense? Or do you feel like the quiz was totally off, right? This is just a quiz. It's to help assist both of you to find out this information so you can share it with each other. But really the biggest part here is to be able to discuss and ask each other if you're getting it right. So have fun with this.